Hi guys, welcome back to the French Cooking Academy. This week we're connecting the dots with what we've seen last week about the demi-glace, aka the sauce base that you can make at home. We've seen the technique, now it's time to put this into practice and make a sauce. So I'm going to use that sauce demi-glace, that home-style demi-glace that I've made last week, and use that to make a sauce lyonnaise, a reduction of onion, some vinegar, some other component, a little bit of cream, to have that kind of really nice, tangy, bistro-style sauce that you find in the chicken in vinegar and when you go to this bistro in the town of Lyon. So anytime you want that sauce, you don't need to make the whole shebang, the whole chicken. We can now use that demi-glace and make this anytime we want. So if you're ready, put the apron on, let's get started. So while we're going to be making that sauce, that classic sauce using the home-style demi-glace we made last week, we're going to do a little exercise, and I want to demonstrate here the usefulness of nailing down your French culinary basics. And when it comes to choosing recipes and sauces, yes, you can go to standard recipe books, but if you know your basic, you know a little bit of the jargon, you know about stocks and demi-glace and all the kitchen processes, you could use things like this. This is what the professionals are using, a reference guide. It will give you all the little sauces that exist, plus plenty of other things. And this is exactly what happened in the kitchen. Don't think that cooks know everything. They got books, okay? So this is an example. Let's take a scenario here. I'm at home, I know my culinary basics, and I want to make a sauce. I'm going to take a reference guide, and I've put a little marker here for the page, and I'm going to open this book at the sauces section. As I told before, there's a lot of sauce in French cooking. This is an example. 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, 5 page, 6, 7 pages of sauces, 8 pages. Okay, so we get 8 pages, it's about 200 or something like this on there. So what I'm going to do here, for instance, I've heard about the Lyonnaise sauce. What can I do this? I'm going to scroll down here, I'm going to go, don't worry, I'm going to zoom after, and I'm going to go here, Lyonnaise. Let's have a look at that. Obviously, as you can see, the recipes in that book are very short because these kinds of books are destined for the people that knows what they're doing in terms of cooking or French cooking. They know their basics, so there's no need for explanation. Here, you go to Lyonnaise, it's telling you it's chopped onion that are cooked in butter, just to a blonde color, so without too much coloration. You're gonna then add a reduction of equal amount of white wine and vinegar. You reduce, you add your demi-glace, and then you filter. You're done. And pretty much, this is what we're gonna do. I know pretty much what the process is, what I need to do. I can go and get my ingredients. Now, of course, as you can see, I don't have the precise ingredients. I've got some other books, so I know what I'm going to be using. But if you forget the process and what's included in that sauce, that's the book for you. Now, let's look at the ingredients. So as per the recipe, I've got chopped onion, equal amount of vinegar and white wine on here. I've got a demi-glace, and I've got my personal touch. I'm going to add some cream and perhaps a little bit of parsley. What about the techniques? If I know my basics, I know about my knife skill, I know how to dice onion and chop them, so this is done. I know that it is better to use a white wine vinegar because you don't want an unwanted reddentage in your sauce, even color your onions. I'm using the white wine vinegar, that's a given. And I know how to make a stock and a demi-glace. If I didn't know these things, I'll be stuck. But here, no problem. I can even add my personal touch with a bit of cream and parsley. So now let's go on the stove. So when you're on your stove, even choosing a pan is important. And if you know what you're doing and you know the culinary basic, you will know that the sauté pan, for instance, is great when you make a pan sauce, when you need to sear the steak and have that large surface because of that. But to make a standalone sauce, this is just too wide, Your onions might burn, your liquid might reduce too much, and most importantly, you don't need to sear anything. So this is too wide. So instead, you're gonna know, well, you want something that's like a saucepan. This is the best candidate, the saucier pan. It's got a large enough surface, I can cook my onions in butter, and it's got a specific shape, and that will allow me to evaporate my liquid as fast as this pan. So this is the pan I'm going to use for the job. Anyway, you got the idea. Culinary techniques are important. It's not just to say, yes, I know my techniques. They are really, really useful. So now we're going to melt the butter on medium heat and then add the onions in. Butter is melted, and I'm going to add all my onions. Now the recipe tells us that we need to cook these slowly until they have a very light coloration. So we're not browning the onions, but we want a blonde coloration. So we want the heat to be not on low, but medium. Now many of you have been asking about the technical terms in French. So here in the recipe, it says mouiller les oignons. The action of mouiller is different than déglacer. Déglacer is to deglaze with a very, very small amount of liquid. It's going to reduce immediately. Mouiller is to pour over a large amount or a reasonable amount of liquid. So here, nous allons mouiller les oignons avec du vin et du vinaigre. Voilà. So it's a large amount of liquid. And now we can start the reduction. I'm going to raise my heat a little bit and we're going to reduce this mixture. My vinegar and wine is now boiling and I'm going to reduce my heat and I'm going to leave this to reduce slowly by half. Now while it's reducing, let me talk about something I haven't talked about. It is the quality of the vinegar. Vinegars are very important and there's different quality of vinegar. Now when you make this sort of recipe, a reduction based on vinegar, don't take a cheap vinegar. Always go in a specialty shop, try to get these Sauvignon Blanc kind of vinegars. There's all kinds of Chardonnay vinegars as well. Really good quality. And trust me, the difference is absolutely amazing. You should try it. Even the red wine vinegar, like aged red wine vinegar that I've tried recently, is insanely good and nothing compares to the standard vinegars we find in supermarkets. So it pays off to choose a good one. My wine and vinegar reduction is now ready. We're going to add that lovely demi-glace, so home style. Look at this. Very nice. And here comes the part of the reduction again. So what we've talked about when we make the demi-glace, why do I leave it a little bit more runny? It's not really like a syrup. Because when you make sauces on their own, you want time to reduce and see for yourself to get that perfect consistency. If it's already too thick, you have no room to play with. So having something a little bit more runny just gives you plenty of time to check the consistency until you want to have just what you think is right. And that is important. Never get something that's too short. A lot of people like to concentrate too much, but that leaves you no room for reducing. You want to give yourself space there. Eh? So we're going to raise the heat and bring it to a very light boil, then simmer. Just looking at this, I know it starts to take shape. Just the kind of the bubble is thicker than just water. It starts to be a little bit syrupy. Let me taste this, and it's towards the end that sauces really take shape. Oh, I love that sauce. It's tangy, that vinegar, it's grasping your tongue. Like it's really, it's really tangy, because vinegar and wine, so as you can imagine. So now I'm gonna add a bit of cream and keep on reducing. So for the purist, there's no cream. The sauce is ready as is. You can reduce it a little bit more, and that's it. You can pour this over your meat. But I like butter and cream. I like to add a tiny bit, so I'm gonna go very easy with the cream. Just to kind of see how we go with that. It changes the color, unfortunately, so I don't want to make it all white, but I think it does add an edge to the sauce. I'm going to reduce for a few more minutes, and we're going to be done. Look at this. I think we're here. The test. When the sauce can coat the back of a spoon, it's called a spoon coating consistency. So you can take your finger, you can see that mark in there slowly. It can go a bit further, but that's enough because it's gonna reduce further when you turn the heat off. So turn the heat off, I'm gonna filter that sauce and we're done. Once the sauce has been filtered, this is what you have. It is totally pristine. It is almost syrupy. The surface is totally, glossy. You see that gloss that the sauce has. It is typical from this classic kind of restaurant. They're not meant to be served by the barquette like a sauce bourguignon or anything like this. It's just very intense. It's an experience. So the final touches from the chef or the cook would be whatever you want. Adjust the seasoning. Of course, I'm going to add here perhaps a little bit, a grind of black pepper, and the parsley is a bit of a sacrilege, I think, from people from Lyon. Sorry in advance. I just love parsley. It's some kind of addiction. But yeah, reduce my heat. And I'm just going to swirl that in and taste. I cannot convey the feeling you get these sauces at the end. It is at the end that the meaty flavor, the balance between the vinegar and the wine, the onions, they all come together to create that kind of flavor bomb that we have here. But as simple as it is, that's it. We've pretty much done a sauce lyonnaise, so let's try to cook a piece of meat and pour it over. Let's have a quick tasting. So I've poured some sauce over my chicken on here, and I've already tasted the sauce, but let's see how it goes with the chicken, because I think it's gonna be... What I like I need to grab more sauce, I think. What I like is that the chicken, when it's really clean, and the tanginess of the sauce with the grill, that grill flavor, really works really well. Okay, let's not be greedy. Now we are talking. I'm going into sauce like. I need to have a nice representation of what that's Sauce Lyonnaise. The mixture of the meat, you know, the demi-glace with the reduction. I don't feel the onion that much, but it's elegant, and with chicken, it's great. But you know what? Pork chop. I can see this from here. Long live the pork chop and chicken with that sauce. Brilliant. Now, if you've ever been to Lyon and you've tried the chicken in vinegar, which is almost like a national icon dish that I absolutely love, there's zillions of versions of it out there. This is the experience you will get with that sauce. It is really intense, it's tangy, it's short, a little bit syrupy, and goes very well with chicken, but I think pork could be really good. And the advantage here, when we have that home-style demi-glace, it is very fast and easy to make one of these classic sauces. And as you've seen in the book I've showed you, there's so many options, and once you've got that stock or that demi-glace, that opens many, many doors to try all kinds of things. And trying flavors, trying sauces, experimenting with taste is also part of the culinary education. It is not just about techniques, knife skill and cooking. There's more than that. We need to see the bigger picture here. And this is what we're going to do next time, where I'm going to be talking to finish the series on the one part we haven't talked, which is the velouté. Different technique, different texture, different stock, okay? And see the types of sauce we can yield. I hope to see you next time for the continuation of that series. Take care all, bye bye.